Lisa Parker stood in her small office on the military base, staring at the message on her computer screen. She read it 3 times, but the words did not change. Her son Jake was missing. The 18-year-old boy had disappeared from Kepler Station 5 days ago, and nobody seemed to care. The official report was short and useless. Jake had been part of a student group visiting the big space station near the edge of human territory. He was studying old alien cultures at the academy back on Earth. The report said he had wandered off during free time and never came back. Case closed. Lisa knew her son better than anyone. Jake was not the type to just walk away. He always called her every few days, even when he was busy with school. He was careful and smart. Something bad had happened to him. She picked up her phone and called the station commander at Kepler Station. The alien on the other end of the call spoke in broken English. "Human boy probably went home early," the creature said with clicking sounds. "Happens often with young ones. They get scared in space." "My son is not scared of space," Lisa said, trying to keep her voice calm. "He has been on ships since he was 10 years old." "Where did you look for him?" "We looked everywhere aloud. Maybe he took transport ship to other place. Young humans do crazy things." Lisa felt her anger rising. "Did you check the security cameras? Did you talk to the other students? Did you contact the ships that left the station?" "We did what we could do. Case is closed now. Too much time passed." The call ended. Lisa sat back in her chair and felt something cold settle in her stomach. Nobody was going to help her find Jake. The military brass always talked about protecting human citizens, but when it came time to actually do something, they hid behind rules and paperwork. She walked down the hall to Admiral Henderson's office. The older man looked up from his desk when she knocked. "Come in, Lisa. I heard about your son. I am sorry." "I need a ship, sir. I need to go to Kepler Station and find him myself." Henderson shook his head. "You know I cannot do that. We have rules about using military ships for personal business. The station authorities are handling it." "The station authorities just told me the case is closed. They did nothing to find him." "Lisa, I understand you are upset. But we cannot send our ships chasing after every missing person. Jake is probably fine. Maybe he decided to see more of the galaxy before coming home." Lisa felt her hands tighten into fists. "Jake would never do that without telling me. Something happened to him out there. Even if that is true, we cannot help. The Kepler Station area is controlled by alien governments. We have to follow diplomatic rules. One wrong move could start a war. So you will let my son disappear because you are afraid of making aliens angry?" Henderson's face grew hard. "Watch your tone, Commander. I know you are worried, but that does not give you the right to question orders. Go home. Take some leave time. Your son will probably call you in a few days." Lisa left the office without saluting. She walked through the base past the ships sitting in the hangar bay. Most of them were small patrol boats, but there was one light cruiser called the Dakota. She had commanded ships like it during the war on Titan Colony. 30 crew members, fast engines, and enough firepower to handle most problems. She found Pete Morrison in the engine room of the Dakota. The big man looked up from the reactor controls when she walked in. "Hey, Lisa, heard about Jake. That is rough. Pete, I need to ask you something, and I need you to think carefully before you answer." Pete wiped his hands on a rag and gave her his full attention. "What is it?" "If I told you I was taking this ship to go find my son, would you come with me?" Pete was quiet for a long moment. "That would be stealing a military ship. They would court-martial all of us." "I know. And we would be going into alien space without permission. That could cause a lot of trouble." "I know that too." Pete looked at the engine controls, then back at Lisa. "How many people are we talking about?" "Just volunteers. Anyone who wants to stay behind can stay." "When do we leave?" Lisa felt some of the weight lift from her shoulders. "Tonight, can you get the ship ready?" "Give me 4 hours." Lisa found Kate Sullivan in the navigation center studying star charts. The young woman had been her navigation officer during 3 different missions. She was smart and good at her job. "Kate, I need to talk to you about something important." Kate looked up from her charts. "This is about Jake, is not it?" "How did you know?" The whole base is talking. Everyone knows the admirals told you no. Everyone also knows you are not the type to give up. Lisa explained her plan. Kate listened without interrupting. So we steal a ship, go into alien space, and look for one missing person among billions of creatures. That is about right. Kate smiled. Sounds like fun. When do we leave? By evening, Lisa had talked to 37 crew members. All of them volunteered to come. Some of them had served with her before. Others just believed that leaving people behind was wrong. Buzz Kowalski, her old tactical officer, summed up what they were all thinking. You saved my life on Titan. If you say your boy is in trouble, then we go get him. Simple as that. The Dakota left Earth's orbit at midnight, using a fake patrol route that Kate had created in the computer. By the time anyone noticed, they were gone. They would be days away from home. Lisa stood on the bridge, watching the stars grow brighter as they moved away from Earth. Jake was out there somewhere, and she was going to find him. She did not care how many rules she had to break or how many aliens she had to fight. She was his mother, and nobody was going to stop her from bringing him home. The Dakota reached the Vega system after 3 days of hard travel. Lisa stood on the bridge, looking at the alien ships moving between the planets. The Zephyrians controlled this area of space. They looked like giant insects with 4 arms and hard-shell bodies. Most humans thought they were ugly, but they were supposed to be good at business and fair in their deals. Kate Sullivan pointed to her screen. I am picking up at least 50 ships in this system. Most of them are cargo haulers and mining vessels. Any sign of human technology? Lisa asked. Buzz Kowalski checked his sensors. Maybe. There are some energy readings that look familiar, but I cannot be sure from this distance. Lisa opened a communication channel to the largest Zephyrian ship. This is Commander Lisa Parker of the human vessel Dakota. I need to speak with your leader about a missing person. The response came quickly. The voice was high and clicking, like metal hitting metal. Human ship, you are not welcome here. This is Zephyrian space. Leave now or face consequences. I'm not here to cause trouble. I am looking for my son. He disappeared from Kepler Station, and I have reason to believe he may have come to this system. There was a long pause. Then a different voice came on the channel. I am Trade Minister Vextar. What is the name of this missing human? Jake Parker. He is 18 years old, studying alien cultures. He was last seen 5 days ago. Another pause. We have seen no humans in this system. You should look elsewhere. Lisa felt something cold in her stomach. The alien was lying. She could hear it in his voice. Minister, I would like to board your ship and discuss this in person. That is not possible. We are very busy with important trade business. Please leave our system immediately. Lisa looked at her crew. Pete Morrison was watching the engine controls. Kate had her hand near the navigation system. Buzz was ready at the weapons station. They were all waiting for her decision. Minister Vextar, I'm going to ask you one more time. Have you seen any humans in the system? No humans. Go away now or we will call for military help. Lisa made her choice. Kate, take us closer to that big ship. Buzz, run a deep scan. I want to know what they are carrying. The Dakota moved forward. The Zephyrian ships began to spread out, like they were getting ready for a fight. Lisa opened the communication channel again. Minister, my sensors are showing human energy signatures on several of your ships. I think you have been lying to me. This time the response was angry. You have no right to scan our ships. This is our space. Where is my son? We know nothing. About your son, leave now. Buzz looked up from his station. Lisa, I am definitely reading human technology. At least 6 different signatures. Some of them look like personal equipment like communicators and data pads. Lisa felt her anger building. These aliens had Jake, or they knew where he was. She was sure of it. Minister Vextar, I am going to give you 10 seconds to tell me where the humans are. If you do not answer, I will assume you are hostile and act accordingly. The alien's voice turned nasty. You are one small ship against 50 of ours. You cannot threaten us, human female. Your kind makes good workers in the deep mines where no signals can reach the outside. Perhaps you would like to join the young ones we already have." The words hit Lisa like a physical blow. They had Jake. They had taken her son and put him in some mine where he could not call for help. The anger that had been building inside her for days suddenly exploded into something much more dangerous. "Buzz, target their engines. Do not destroy the ships, but make sure they cannot run away. Kate, plot intercept courses for all vessels. Pete, give me everything the engines have got." The Dakota moved like a hunting animal. Lisa had commanded ships in combat before, but she had never felt this focused, this determined. These aliens had made the worst mistake of their lives. They had taken her child. The first Zephyrian ship tried to flee. Buzz put 2 precise shots into its engine section. The ship stopped moving but did not explode. The second ship tried to fight back. Its weapons were old and slow. The Dakota dodged easily and disabled it with 3 quick shots. "All Zephyrian vessels, this is Commander Parker. Shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Anyone who tries to run or fight will be disabled. I am not here to kill you, but I will find my son." Some of the alien ships tried to escape. Others tried to fight. Lisa and her crew moved through them like they were standing still. The Dakota was faster, better armed, and had a crew that was fighting for something more important than money or territory. Within 2 hours, 43 Zephyrian ships were floating dead in space. Not one had been destroyed, but none of them could move. Lisa had been very careful about that. She wanted prisoners, not bodies. "Minister Vextar, you are going to tell me where the humans are being held. You are going to do it right now." The alien's voice was much smaller than before. "They are in the asteroid mines in the outer system. Belt 7, Section 12. Please do not hurt my people." "How many humans?" 18 total. They have been working for 3 months. Lisa felt sick. 3 months. Jake and 17 other people had been slaves for 3 months, and nobody had come looking for them except her. "Kate, plot a course for the asteroid belt. Pete, how are our engines?" "Running perfect, Lisa. Ready for whatever comes next." Lisa looked at the defeated alien fleet floating around them. She had not meant to start a war. She had just wanted to find her son. But these creatures had forced her hand when they decided to steal human beings. "All crew, prepare for boarding operations. We are going to get our people back." Lisa held her son in her arms for the first time in months. Jake was thin and dirty, but he was alive. The asteroid mines had been dark, cold places where humans worked 18 hours a day digging rare metals for their alien captors. 17 other humans stood behind him, all of them young people who had disappeared from different places across human space. "Mom, how did you find us?" Jake asked, his voice weak but hopeful. "I stole a spaceship and beat up some aliens," Lisa said, trying to smile. "Are you hurt?" "Nothing serious, but Mom, this is bigger than just us. I learned things while I was down there. The Zephyrians are not working alone." Jake led his mother to a small room where he had been hiding things he found in the mines. Ancient star maps covered the walls, drawn on pieces of metal and stone. Jake had used his archaeology training to read the old symbols. "These maps show trade routes that go back hundreds of years," Jake explained. "The Zephyrians have been taking people from lots of different species, not just humans. But look at this." He pointed to a section of the map that showed 2 other star systems connected to the Zephyrian territory. The Andorian Republic and the Centauri Corporate Alliance. They are part of this too. They provide ships and hiding places. In return, they get cheap workers and rare materials. Lisa studied the maps. "How many humans do you think they have taken?" "Based on what I saw and heard, maybe hundreds over the past 10 years. They take people from small colonies and remote stations where nobody will look too hard." Dr. Amy Chen, the Dakota's science officer, was examining some of the equipment they had found in the mines. "Lisa, you need to see this. The mining equipment has Andorian power cells and Centauri control systems. Jake is right. This is a big operation." Lisa felt her anger building again. It was not just the Zephyrians. 2 other alien governments had been helping to steal human beings. While Earth's leaders worried about diplomatic rules, these creatures had been treating her people like animals. Pete, how long until we can get back to human space with the rescued people? The Dakota can make the trip in 5 days, but Lisa, we have a problem. Long-range sensors are showing ships moving in from the Andorian Republic. Looks like a military fleet. Lisa walked back to the bridge. On the main screen, she could see 27 Andorian warships approaching the Vega system. The Andorians looked like tall, thin humans, but with gray skin and no hair. They were supposed to be peaceful, more interested in art and philosophy than war. The communication system came to life. Human vessel Dakota, this is President Kelthon of the Andorian Republic. You have attacked our trade partners without cause. Surrender immediately or face the consequences. Lisa opened the channel. President Kelthon, your trade partners were using human slaves. I found 18 of my people working in their mines. Are you going to tell me you did not know about this? What the Zephyrians do in their own space is not our concern. You have no right to interfere with legal business operations. Legal business operations? They kidnapped my son. You are a military officer acting without orders in foreign space. This is an act of war unless you surrender right now. Lisa looked around the bridge. Her crew was watching her, waiting for orders. Jake stood behind her, still weak but determined, to help. Mom, show him the star maps. Make him admit what they have been doing. Lisa had Dr. Chen upload the star maps to the communication system. President Kelthon, these maps show your government has been helping the Zephyrians for years. Your ships, your technology, your safe harbors, you are just as guilty as they are. There was a long pause. When the Andorian leader spoke again, his voice was cold. Those maps prove nothing. Even if they did, one human ship cannot fight the combined fleets of 2 star systems. Surrender now, and we will make your punishment quick. Lisa felt something snap inside her head. These aliens thought they could threaten her because she was outnumbered. They thought humans were weak because they followed rules and tried to be diplomatic. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Jake, get all the rescued people off the bridge. Kate, send a message to every human colony within 50 light years. Tell them what we found here. Tell them their people are being stolen and used as slaves. Pete, are the captured Zephyrian ships ready to fly? Most of them are operational. The crews are locked up, but we can fly them with skeleton crews. Buzz, I want you to analyze the Andorian fleet. Find their weak points. Dr. Chen looked up from her science station. Lisa, I have been studying their shield technology. They use a rotating frequency system, but there is a gap in the rotation cycle. It lasts for exactly 2.3 seconds every 30 seconds. Can we exploit that gap? If we time our shots perfectly, yes. But we would need to coordinate attacks on multiple ships at the same time. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. Then that is what we will do. Kate, take command of the lead Zephyrian ship. Buzz, you take another one. Pete, can you handle the 3rd ship? I can try, but Lisa, this is crazy. We are talking about fighting a real military fleet with captured alien ships. We barely know how to operate. They made this personal when they took my son. Jake, I want you to broadcast everything we found here to every human news service you can reach. Let our people know what has been happening. The battle began an hour later. Lisa had never fought this kind of fight before, but she was learning that sometimes being angry enough was better than having perfect training. The Andorian ships were bigger and more powerful, but they were not expecting humans to understand their technology so quickly. Dr. Chen's timing was perfect. Every 2.3 seconds, the human ships struck at the exact moment when the Andorian shields were weakest. One by one, the alien warships lost power and began drifting in space. President Kelthon's final message was full of shock and fear. How did you learn our weaknesses so quickly? No species has ever defeated an Andorian fleet in direct combat. Maybe you should not have given us 3 months to study your technology while our people worked as your slaves, Lisa replied. By the end of the day, the entire Andorian fleet was disabled. Lisa had not destroyed any of the ships, but none of them could fight anymore. She was learning that sometimes showing mercy made you look stronger than killing your enemies. But she was not done. Jake's maps showed that the Centauri corporate alliance was still out there, still part of the slave trade. and Lisa Parker was just getting started. Lisa sat in what used to be President Kelthon's office, staring at reports from 3 different star systems. In the past 2 weeks, she had somehow become the leader of millions of alien beings. It was not something she had planned or wanted, but it had happened anyway. The Centauri corporate alliance had fallen faster than anyone expected. When CEO Prime Quindal saw what happened to the Zephyrians and Andorians, he tried to make a deal. He offered to return all the human slaves and pay money to their families if Lisa would leave his territory alone. Lisa's answer had been simple. You helped steal my people for 10 years. Now you want to buy your way out of trouble? That is not how this works. The corporate alliance had hired mercenary fleets to fight her, but the mercenaries quit when they realized they were fighting the woman who had conquered 2 star systems in a week. Money was nice, but staying alive was better. Now Lisa controlled the governments of 3 star systems, and she had no idea what to do with them. The aliens living there kept asking her to make decisions about everything from trade agreements to school programs. She was a military officer, not a politician. Jake walked into the office carrying a cup of coffee and a data pad. Her son looked much better now that he was eating regular meals and sleeping in a real bed. Mom, you need to see this. What now? Admiral Henderson is here. He brought a fleet from Earth. Lisa felt tired. She had been expecting this. Earth's government could not let one of their officers conquer 3 star systems without responding. It would make them look weak. How many ships? 15. All of them big ones. He is asking to meet with you. Lisa stood up and walked to the window. She could see Henderson's flagship in orbit above the planet. The admiral had been her superior officer for 5 years. He was a good man, but he followed orders even when the orders were stupid. Set up a meeting in the main conference room. Make sure our people are there too. An hour later, Lisa sat across from Admiral Henderson in a room full of humans and aliens. The admiral looked older than she remembered, and he seemed uncomfortable being surrounded by so many non-human faces. Lisa, I have orders from Earth. You are to surrender command of all military forces and return to face court-martial for stealing government property and starting unauthorized wars. What about the slave trade? That is a matter for the diplomatic corps to handle. You overstepped your authority. Lisa looked around the table. Trade Minister Vextar was there, representing what was left of the Zephyrian government. The insect-like alien had been surprisingly helpful once he realized Lisa was not going to kill him. Several Andorian officials sat nearby, including a young female named Kira who had become Lisa's main contact with their people. Admiral, these beings asked me to stay and help them rebuild their governments. The old leaders were corrupt and cruel. They sold their own people to make money. That is not our problem, Lisa. We cannot have human officers running around conquering alien territories whenever they feel like it. Kira spoke up in her soft, musical voice. Admiral Henderson, may I say something? Henderson looked uncomfortable, but he nodded. Before Commander Parker came here, our government was run by criminals. They took people from their families and sold them to work in terrible places. My own brother disappeared 2 years ago. We tried to find him, but the officials said he probably just left on his own. She paused, looking directly at the admiral. Commander Parker found him. He was working in a mine on the far side of our system, barely alive. The old government told us he was dead. They lied to us for years. Trade Minister Vextar made clicking sounds that Lisa had learned meant agreement. The same with my people. We thought we were following wise leaders, but they were just stealing from everyone to make themselves rich. Commander Parker showed us the truth. Admiral Henderson shifted in his chair. I understand your situation, but Commander Parker is a human officer. She cannot rule alien territories. Why not? Jake asked from his seat near the back of the room. Because it is not legal. Earth has laws about this kind of thing. Earth's laws did not stop the slave trade, Lisa said quietly. Earth's laws did not help me find my son. Earth's laws told me to go home and wait while my child worked 18 hours a day in a mine. Henderson looked tired. Lisa, I know you are angry, but you cannot just ignore the chain of command. What you did was mutiny. What I did was save my son and 17 other people from slavery. If that is mutiny, then I am guilty. Dr. Amy Chen, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "Admiral, I have been studying the records we found in the government files. The slave trade was not just about humans. They were taking people from at least 12 different species. Thousands of beings have been stolen from their families over the past 50 years. And now it has stopped," Kira added. "For the first time in my lifetime, families do not have to worry about their children disappearing. That is because of Commander Parker." Henderson was quiet for a long moment. "Lisa, even if what you did was right, you still broke the law. I have orders to arrest you." "Try it," said a new voice from the doorway. Everyone turned to see Colonel Roy Gibson walking into the room. Lisa recognized him as one of Henderson's officers, a man who had always been ambitious and eager to follow orders. "Colonel Gibson, what are you doing here?" Henderson asked. "I came to arrest Commander Parker, sir. But I have been talking to the people in this system for the past 3 days. I have seen the freed slaves, the rescued children, and the evidence of what the old governments were doing." Gibson walked over to Lisa and snapped to attention. "Commander Parker, Colonel Roy Gibson requesting permission to join your forces." Henderson stood up quickly. "Colonel, you are under my command. You cannot just switch sides." "Sir, with respect, I took an oath to protect human beings from their enemies. Commander Parker has done more to protect humans in the past month than our government has done in the past 10 years. I know where my duty lies." Other officers began standing up around the room. One by one, they walked over to Lisa's side of the table. By the time they were finished, Admiral Henderson was sitting alone. "This is mutiny," Henderson said, but his voice lacked conviction. "No, sir," Lisa replied. "This is justice. You can go back to Earth and tell them that the Free Systems Alliance is now an independent nation. We will not attack human territories, but we will not bow to Earth's authority either." Henderson looked around the room at the faces watching him. Humans and aliens stood together, united by something stronger than politics or military rank. They were united by the simple idea that people should be free. "Lisa, this is not over." "Yes, it is. The slave trade is finished. These people are free. My son is safe. That is all I ever wanted." Henderson left with his fleet the next day. Lisa watched the ships disappear into space, knowing that her old life was gone forever. She was no longer just a military officer looking for her missing son. She was the leader of a new nation, and millions of people were counting on her to keep them safe. 6 months had passed since Lisa Parker stole a spaceship to find her missing son. Now she stood in front of the Galactic Council, representing the Free Systems Alliance as an equal member among the great powers of the galaxy. It still felt strange to her. The council chamber was huge, with delegates from hundreds of different species sitting in curved rows that reached up to the ceiling. Lisa wore a simple blue uniform that Jake had designed for her. It looked like her old military clothes, but with new symbols that represented the 3 systems she now governed. "First Administrator Parker," said the council chairman, a tall creature with too many eyes and a voice like grinding metal. "Your alliance requests full recognition as an independent nation. This is highly unusual, given the circumstances of your rise to power." Lisa stood up slowly. She still did not like giving speeches, but she had learned to do it. "Chairman Vortex, 6 months ago I was a mother looking for her kidnapped son. I found him working as a slave in an illegal mining operation. When I asked for help, the governments that were supposed to protect my people told me to go home and forget about it." She looked around the chamber. Many of the delegates were species she had never seen before. Some looked friendly, others seemed hostile, and a few appeared to be sleeping. "I did not set out to conquer anyone. I just wanted my child back. But when I found him, I also found 17 other humans and evidence of a slave trade that had been operating for decades. The Zephyrian Trade Coalition, the Andorian Republic, and the Centauri Corporate Alliance were working together to steal people from many different species, not just humans." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The slave trade had been big news across the galaxy, and many species had discovered their own missing people in the records Lisa's forces had captured. The governments of those 3 systems were corrupt and cruel. Their own people asked me to help them build something better. The Free Systems Alliance is not a human empire ruling over aliens. It is a partnership between species who believe that all thinking beings deserve freedom and dignity. Jake sat in the section reserved for family members of delegates. Next to him was Emma Torres, the young woman he had met in the mines. They had become close during the long months of rebuilding, and Lisa could see that her son was happy. Emma had become one of the Alliance's best advocates for victim rights, helping former slaves adjust to their new lives. The Andromedan delegate, a creature that looked like a walking tree, raised one of its branch-like arms. "First Administrator, how do we know your alliance will not expand its territory through more military action? You conquered 3 star systems in a matter of weeks." "Because we have never attacked anyone who was not holding our people prisoner," Lisa replied. "Every military action we have taken was in response to slavery or trafficking. We have no interest in conquest for its own sake." "But you have continued to grow," pointed out the Rigelian representative, "a being made of what looked like living crystal. 7 more systems have joined your alliance since the original 3. They asked to join us," Lisa said. "We did not force them. When people see that we keep our promises about freedom and fairness, some of them decide they want to be part of what we are building." This was true. Word of the Alliance's success had spread quickly through the Outer Rim territories. Independent colonies and small governments that had been ignored or exploited by the major powers began asking to join. Lisa had been careful to accept only those who truly wanted partnership, not protection from their enemies. Pete Morrison walked into the chamber carrying a data pad. The big engineer was now the Alliance's Minister of Industry, overseeing the mere rebuilding of the former Centauri shipyards. He whispered something in Lisa's ear. Lisa smiled and turned back to the council. "Chairman Vortex, I have just received word that our exploration fleet has found another trafficking operation in the outer spiral. 63 beings from 12 different species, including some from governments represented in this chamber. We are moving to shut down the operation and return these people to their families." The chamber erupted in surprised voices. Several delegates stood up and began talking at once. The chairman banged his gavel repeatedly to restore order. "This is exactly what we are talking about," said the Andromedan delegate. "You cannot simply decide to attack facilities in other territories. The facility is in unclaimed space," Kate Sullivan said as she entered the chamber. The former navigation officer was now Admiral of the Alliance fleet, commanding a growing force of human and alien crews working together. "We followed proper protocols and notified all nearby governments before taking action." Lisa watched the council debate for another hour. Some delegates supported the Alliance's actions against slavery. Others worried about the precedent of a small nation taking military action without permission from larger powers. In the end, the vote was close, but the Free Systems Alliance was granted full recognition as an independent nation. Later that evening, Lisa stood on the observation deck of the space station that served as the Alliance capital. Jake and Emma joined her along with the core group of people who had followed her from the very beginning. "So what happens now, Mom?" Jake asked. "Now we keep doing what we have been doing. We protect our people. We help those who ask for help, and we try to make the galaxy a little bit safer for families." Buzz Kowalski, now the Alliance's defense minister, pointed out the window at a line of ships preparing to depart. "The exploration fleet is ready to leave. Intel suggests there might be more trafficking operations in the beta sector." Lisa nodded. "How many ships?" 37, including 5 that joined us this week. The crew is about half human, half alien. They are all volunteers. Dr. Amy Chen approached from the science section. "Lisa, we have received requests for help from 14 different systems this month. Most of them are reporting missing people or suspicious activity near their borders. Are we ready to handle that many operations?" "With the new ships coming out of the Centauri yards, yes. Pete's people have done amazing work getting those facilities back online." Lisa looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, people were being taken from their families just like Jake had been. 6 months ago, she had been one woman with one ship trying to find one missing boy. Now she commanded fleets and governed star systems. But the mission was still the same. Emma, how are the support programs working? Better than expected. We have helped over 300 former slaves rebuild their lives. Most of them are doing well, and many have volunteered to help with rescue operations. Jake put his arm around his mother's shoulders. You know, when I was in those mines, I used to imagine you coming to rescue me, but I never imagined you would end up changing the whole galaxy. Lisa smiled. I did not change the galaxy, Jake. I just reminded it that families should not be separated by greed and cruelty. Everything else just followed from that. The Dakota, now the flagship of the Alliance fleet, began moving away from the station. Lisa had insisted on leading the next rescue mission personally. She was still, at heart, a mother who would not tolerate anyone hurting children. Ready to go find some more lost people? She asked her crew. Yes, ma'am. They replied together. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Lisa reflected on how much her life had changed. She had started as an angry mother looking for her son, and somehow become the leader of a new nation. But the most important thing had not changed at all. She was still fighting to keep families together, one rescue at a time.